It's right in your own backyard, hiding behind a bush, or maybe already inside your house. Sometimes they are hanging out in malls, in schools, in churches. While it might be hard to believe, roughly 5 million Americans don't even know where clowns come from. In communities just like yours, there are many who need help. Join people across the country who are coming together to stop clowns and their foolish shenanigans. Start today. It can be as easy as telling parents to stop inviting them to birthday parties. No child in the history of children has ever requested a clown at their party, ever. Clowns feed on your attention, so don't give in. Ignore and run away. Moms are okay. But remember, if you see a clown, don't fool around, get out of town.
FX presents the Indoob podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indoobians. I'm T. Sterling Watson, and this is the Indoob podcast. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. This is episode number 63, and we have royalty among us. Not Meghan Markle, but better, a rising mogul, and has Idris Elba and BD Wong fighting over her. The original black girl nerd, Jamie Broadnax.
That is a lovely introduction. Thank you for that. BD Wong and Idris is fighting over me? Okay.
I mean, I can only assume that's what's happening because I've kind of been watching the Twitters anyway. I don't know if Idris is actually out there fighting, but I'm watching it. I'm seeing what's happening.
In my dreams, that is happening quite often. So yeah, he is fighting for me. And BD Wong is there. Every now and then Lin-Manuel gets in there, even though I know he's a taken man. But yeah,
that was new. I didn't know that.
I have there's a throng of them, and we could talk all night about just my dreams, and that'll probably be very interesting to your listeners.
It would be. I try to keep this a family show, so I'm not really sure how.
Oh well, then probably not. Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, we can at least name names, but we can't get into like the steamy details as much as we would like.
Okay, got it. My dreams are very PG. I should just say, yeah, I'm gonna put that out there.
Okay.
I want everybody to believe that Jamie is, a very clean, wholehearted, wholesome individual. So I have PG dreams about Idris Elba.
I don't believe any of that, but that's okay. We'll go along with your, fantasies, if you will. I've seen the Idris blanket, so yeah. I just want you to know I've seen it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think BD Wong might be happy about that.
Night.
I bet it does. I bet it.
Listen, it's a handy tool at night. Let me tell you, those cold winter nights, 'tis the season to be covered by Idris Elba. Let me just tell you right now.
All righty then. Let's talk about who you are, because I know there are people. I'm specifically thinking of my parents, and I even told them, I was like, "Hey, I'm interviewing or I'm talking with Jamie Broadnax, and she's like the black girl nerds, and she's like our blurred mother person," and they're like, I have no idea who this is. So could you give us a rundown of like all your accolades, because you have quite the list of achievements even just this year alone, and I'm pretty sure you can kind of run them off a little better than I can.
Oh, well, thank you. So I started a website and an online community called Black Girl Nerds back in February of 2012. And it's evolved and grown into this huge beast of a media pop culture site where we go all across the country and cover film festivals, Comic-Con. We go to press junkets, movie premieres, all kinds of really fun things. And I've been doing that along with a team of incredibly hardworking women and men for a while now. And, as far as BGN goes, I'm the editor-in-chief. And I do a little bit of everything in my role. Obviously, I spend a lot of time going through articles and editing them, but I also am a film critic and a writer. So occasionally you'll see me post a review for a movie like Justice League. And then I'm also a podcaster. I have a weekly show. It's currently in a hiatus, but we talk about all things in fandom. And then we have guests that come on the show and talk about their works. And we've interviewed celebrities and independent artists and entertainers. And it's been a pretty fun ride these last 5 years. So outside of BGN, I also executive produce and co-host a podcast called Misty Knight's Uninformed Afro. And and that is a podcast about Black superheroines. So I co-host that along with Stephanie Williams, and we profile all of our favorite superheroines that many of you may know or may not know from Marvel and DC. And also we've been diving in recently this past season. We're in season 2 into more independent publishers like Image and Dark Horse. So we're really excited about that show, and we're getting ready for season 3 now. And then I have a book coming out.
I forgot about that. Come on.
Yeah, I have a book coming out. Don't know the exact date yet, and still working on things with my editor now, but it's happening. So when that date comes, I will definitely let everybody know on the Twitters, of course. And really excited about that. And it's basically about the online community of Black Girl Nerds and just really the intersection of Black feminism and nerd culture. So I've interviewed a lot of women that have been following the account for years, that are cosplayers, gamers, people that are part of that have their own book clubs and just folks that have been a part of the online community for many years now. So they're featured in the book. And then it's also part autobiographical. So I talk about me a little bit. But yeah, that's happening. And that's what I've been doing for the last few years now, along with holding a full-time daytime job, which I don't sleep. It just doesn't happen. Yeah.
That boggles the mind. Like when is there a rest period, which we've kind of discussed through email and, but no, you are doing so much. The other thing that I did actually was a little curious about as well, if you could elaborate you're working with the Sci-Fi Channel or Sci-Fi Network as well.
Yes. So Sci-Fi selected a group of people to be a part of their advisory board, and I'm one of them, which is bananas because everybody on the Sci-Fi advisory board are people that you know in geek entertainment. Orlando Jones is on there, executive producer Carlton Cuse, who's the creator of Lost, Patton Oswalt. I mean, just like all of these really crazy names, and Jamie Broadnax. So I'm kind of like, it's like, what? One thing is not like the other. But it's basically, I'm basically like an ambassador for the Sci-Fi network and the Sci-Fi community, because they're more than just a network now. They have Sci-Fi Wired, their website, Sci-Fi Fangirls, which I know a lot of the women behind that team. But yeah, I'm going to be involved in a lot of projects that Sci-Fi is involved in. So one of the first of many projects I'll be doing is an Ask Me Reddit and an AMA, Ask Me Anything Reddit. So that's going to be coming out soon. So Yeah, stay tuned.
Wow.
A lot of this stuff will be happening the AMA thing will probably happen this year, but a lot of the new stuff with sci-fi will be happening in the new year.
Wow, that is really exciting. And I think now meeting you, you're like a degree for me closer to like Orlando Jones and Idris Elba. So I'm like, I kind of know them because I know someone who knows them. So I'm a step closer because all of those people that you named, Lost is one of my favorite shows. Patton Oswalt, I truly admire just his comedic brilliance as well as just, things that he says. And I forgot who else is on the list. I remember when it came out and I'm like, oh my God, I know all these people, including Jamie. So yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I also forgotten who's all on the list. But yeah, it's a whole bunch of really prolific VIPs, and somehow I managed to be selected, and I'm just honored and pleased. But I really love what Sci-Fi is doing. They're obviously trying to be more diverse with respect to their programming and their entertainment. There's a lot of people that I know that's a part of the Blurred community that are getting opportunities now through Sci-Fi. Some of even my writers on Black Girl Nerds have gotten op-ed pieces published on their website. So I just think it's really great that they are really trying to speak to all fans. Because, let's face it, guys, fandom comes in all different colors and, all different backgrounds. It's not just this one specific demographic of people that are fans of Star Wars or any of the other popular properties out there, where all of us are to be represented. So Sci-Fi is actually like taking it serious and is like, you know what, we're going to do something about it. And we're going to have somebody on our advisory board that speaks to Black women in fandom. So it's great.
Yes, it truly is. And I give you all of the applause and like standing applause by the way, because all the work that you're doing, including with Sci-Fi, the book, which I completely forgot about, that's coming out. So that's got to be added to my list, even though it's not out yet, but I'm just, because I can't even remember now. I was trying to figure out all day like when it was that I started following you, because
we've been following each other for a while.
I know, and you, or at least through the Black Girl Nerds account, really opened up. And I know you hear this a lot, but it's true. You opened up like the door, or at least letting me know that there's more people like me out there, and just falling under the term blurred, and now getting to tell people what a blurred is, and then being surprised when other people know what it is. I'm like, oh, great. We're already on the same page. But just knowing that there's a community out there that I now feel like I truly belong in. And I truly appreciate that. And I definitely know my co-host Kortney, who she's probably writing right now for Nano, and it's wrapping up pretty soon. But she would also agree wholeheartedly that because of basically the Black Girl Nerds community, that's kind of, it's like a home or a family for us. And we both thank you for that, for at least, spearheading that, even though I'm sure at this point it's much bigger than you, but you are like one of those pillars that, have brought up this community. So we thank you. And your work is continuing to shine and grow, and I'm excited to see what happens next, where you're going next. I mean, do you have more goal? I'm sure you do have more goals and even people you would like to talk to.
Yeah. Well, in addition to my work at BGN and the Misty Nights podcast, I'm also a co-founder of Universal Fan Con, and that's happening in April of next year in Baltimore. So I'm really hoping that Universal Fan Con will put me in a place where I can really focus on the work that I'm doing with BGN and leave the day job and be like a full-time employee of Universal Fan Con as a founder, and then just really invest my time into this because it's hard work anyway, but it's even harder when I can't devote my full time into BGN like I'd like to. And I'm doing all types of things in the background to try to get folks to invest and get sponsors, and finding new ways to monetize. Like I've opened up an Amazon store for BGN, and, you know, just little things here and there to help things going, to help keep things running, and also to help, you know, pay people, because obviously people want to be paid for their time. But it's a challenge. It's not easy. I guess launching a startup, essentially, that's what it is. And that's the hurdle that I kind of had to get over, was realizing this is a business. Because for me, it was just like, oh, this is a fun hobby. This is a cool online community. This is a blog. Like, I never took it as something that was as big as it actually was. And now that it's evolved into something, like you said, much bigger than me, I need to treat it like that. Like, I need to treat this like a business, and have a business plan, and have attorneys to help me write contracts and things like that. So it's there's a long road ahead. But
that's the part that scares me, or I don't. I like the fun creative side of it, but the business side is like, I shy away from it. But
it sucks, and I'm not good at it. Like, if you just can put me in a creative role and that's all I have to do, I'm totally fine with that. I'd rather have somebody else handle all of the business stuff.
Yes, I completely agree. But I just watch the way you work. I love your work ethic, and it's very inspiring. So as of right now, I just continue to, and I just want to encourage you, please keep doing what you're doing, because I need it. I'm watching people who like do inspire me, and I kind of want to emulate. And so I thank you for being. I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm totally a fan. And if you ever need anything, like maybe a voiceover or just like a little ad or something, I'm here for you. And, you know, it's on the record. So, you know,
all right.
I got you. But I have another question for you. And this is one that I had told you about, that I said I was going to hold off. And also, Kortney did let me know she's on the way. She's rushing in, so she just might just drop in. So, but my question for you is, let's say and we do have to follow back too about when it is you do sleep, but let's just say you're walking down the street and you have actually nothing going on, and then all of a sudden Ben and Jerry's calls you, and they're like, Jamie, we need your help. Like, then they went all like Star Wars too about it, because they even sent you a little hologram, and like, only you can help us. We need a new flavor and a name for it. What do you have?
Blurty Berry.
Blurty Berry. Okay. So what is in Blurty Berry?
I think like chocolate and raspberries. Like, I know raspberry is more of a bitter berry, but some kind of berry, either blueberry, raspberry, or maybe strawberry. But you know what? No,
you could do raspberry, because raspberry works. I think there's raspberry cheesecake gelato, which I don't know why I'm nervous to try it, but I mean, raspberry works. You can do raspberry.
Raspberry works. I don't know why that was the first thing that came to mind, but anyways, yeah, like, but let me scratch raspberry. I think strawberry would be a good berry to have, because I love the taste of chocolate covered strawberries. So chocolate, you know, for the blurred part, and then the berry would be strawberry.
So it is chocolate ice cream flavored then?
Yeah.
With strawberries.
Yes.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, and one of these days, because this is the question I ask for all first time guests. So I have a running list now of all these wonderful Ben and Jerry's flavors with names included. So one day I really should just go to Ben and Jerry, because they do follow me, and I keep trying to tell them, like, hey, these are some ideas from real people who would actually eat it. So,
all right. I just want, a section of that check.
I understand. I do understand.
Just I think a cut. That's all. I don't even want the whole check. Just a small portion.
I'd say, I don't know, 5% for me, 5% for you. That, they can keep the rest, or maybe even, whatever. I'm just don't. I have no idea how that works. So, Because I know Colbert has his own flavor. I don't know what percentage he takes.
I didn't know that. Oh.
He's got I think Americone Dream, which he's the one who started putting the waffle pieces in the ice cream, like the waffle cone pieces.
Oh, he was the first to do that?
He may have been. I saw his first. I'll put it that way. I saw his first.
I feel like
and then I saw
everybody has done at one point or the other, but I guess he's decided to make it into like a thing and monetize off of it.
Exactly. I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
So
that's what's up.
That it is. And Blurty Berry, right? That's what it is.
Yeah. I know that sounds so corny, but that was the first thing I could think of.
Sometimes it's the first one that works.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to workshop it, but that's the whole point of just like getting you right at the without giving you any kind of warning ahead of time, because then you'll start.
I like that
and overthinking it. so yeah, now we know you a little better. And I mean, do you sleep? That is the question of the hour.
No, I do not sleep at all. I'm actually an android. I'm not human beings, so
all right.
Yeah, I don't have to really worry about those kinds of things. No, I mean, I'm lucky that I have a full-time day job that doesn't require a lot of me to do. Like I work at a law firm and I answer the phones. Okay. And when the phone is not ringing, there's literally like no work to do. There's like little tasks here and there, but my number one priority is to answer the phone. So when the phone is not ringing, I work on the website. I check emails. I'm hoping my boss doesn't hear this podcast. I do. I'm able to do things on my time that I can devote to BGN. So I'm able to carve out a little bit of that during the day. And then when I go home at night, I don't have a whole lot of responsibilities. So the only responsibility I have is my dog. And once she's fed and she's walked, she's good. She likes to sleep all day. So, it is hard, but at the same time, it's not too difficult. I'm able to manage that work-life balance more than, let's say, someone that's, got a lot of kids and, or has a very demanding job, or has to take care of a loved one or whatever, I have a little bit more flexibility with my life, but that's why I'm kind of
managing and balancing things out.
Yeah. I'm able to just manage and balance things out. But yeah, trust, it's not something that I enjoy doing, is working full time and doing BGN. I really would like one of them to give. So that way I can really be able to carve out time for just Jamie and rest, which is something I don't get to do.
I totally think that you are not alone. There are many creatives that definitely feel that same way. I know I do. And I definitely know that Kortney does. How you doing, Kortney?
Good. How are y'all?
Great.
Doing good.
So yeah, just the whole trying to balance life with being creative and all of your creative endeavors. It is a tough balance. And yeah, I'd like to leave my job too. And hopefully none of my managers and superiors are listening, but normally they aren't. But that's fine. I'm usually not saying anything too bad about them anyway, but they know who they are. Yeah.
I mean, I think my boss, I've actually had conversations where, my boss is like, we know you work on your website during work hours. You need to just like take it down a notch kind of thing. So I've had the conversation, I'm using air quotes as I'm saying this, but this is my first love. And they knew that when I got the job. And I hope I can keep it as long as I can. But at the end of the day, BGN is number one for me. Like this is like it's in my blood. It's in my DNA. Like I can't see myself doing anything but this kind of work. And when people say, what do you feel like your life's purpose is? I feel like I can finally say I've found my purpose, which is this work.
That's really amazing and great to hear. And again, please continue this passion, this purpose, because again, I thrive off of it. So I thank you so much. We will take a quick break, and when we come back, we have a couple little more, I guess, that actually fall into nerdy categories. So we'll get into that when we come back to the Indoob podcast.
The Indoob podcast.
Shannon, CG, Lauren, and Mel form the Nerds of Prey. A group of ladies bonded by comics, gaming, film, television, and fandom culture. Hang out with them bi-weekly as they dig into the very things that make them loud and proud nerds. Available on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play. Also, check out their Patreon at patreon.com/Nerds of Prey.
Hey, I'm Nick.
And I'm Victor.
And this is Megashine. Megashine is a queer, people of color weekly podcast, and we talk about anything from drag to comics to video games to
boys
and anything else in between. So if you want to listen to us, we're on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, and you can follow us on Megashine Pod and Megashine on Twitter.
That's right. So follow us, talk to us. We'll be here.
And we out.
And welcome back to the Indoob podcast. We've got Jamie and Kortney here. And also, I forgot to ask you both, how are you both doing? Like, just after we've just talked about not sleeping at all, but everything good? Is had a good holiday?
Kortney, I want to hear from you since you just jumped in.
Well, yeah. So the holiday was good. I just the day of recording, this is my first day. We were talking about work before the break. This is my first day back at work from a week off from work. So it's it's as good as one would expect after being off for a week. But had a good holiday. So, got a chance to hang out with family. Thanksgiving is not one of my favorites, so I'm honestly glad to move past it. Been there. I feel like it's one of those. Yeah, I'm glad it happened, but I'm glad we're also past it and moving on, and But other than that, doing good.
Very good. And Jamie, how was your holiday?
It was a really great holiday. I actually did something different for a change. I unplugged from social media just for a little bit, not too long, because then I'll suffer from withdrawal symptoms. But I did a lot of DIY. I decorated my office. I got this new fascination now with washi tape. So I've washi taped everything in my room and all types of fun decor. I put together these dollar store crates and spray painted them and decked them all out and put like push lights on them. And it's really super cute. I got it off of YouTube. I was watching YouTube tutorials. So yeah, I did all of that this weekend. And then I put up the tree and did all my holiday decorating in my bedroom. So yeah, that was my weekend, was just like, having a little bit of a, I don't know, I guess Martha Stewart moment. I don't know.
Sounds pretty Martha Stewart-ish,
Yeah.
Stewart-esque to me.
Mm-hmm.
I did see some of the pictures. I really liked what I saw, although I was a little confused. Maybe the tape is a little more see-through, or maybe you just type very well and you know exactly what key you're typing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't see the letters anymore.
They were like, "Can you see the keys?" So yeah, I do not look at keys when I type. So I can do that. But there are different kinds of washi tape that's very transparent. So you can see through the keys. And then some people don't use all of the keys. They only use certain ones. So you can do that too. But I just decided to be extra and washi tape every single key on my keyboard.
Oh wow. Yeah, I haven't seen this picture. I'm really intrigued. Because I don't even. So you're saying you washi taped your whole keyboard so you can't see the keys?
I took every little bit of. I had 20 rolls of different washi tape designs, and just used every single key on my iMac keyboard, and then I did it on my laptop. But I don't know, for some reason the washi tape didn't stick well on the laptop. On my other keyboard, it's fine. So I wind up taking all of it off on my laptop. But I think it's because I just didn't clean it properly. Because one of the things that you're supposed to do is take some alcohol and clean the keys, because any kind of dirt or dust or something like that will cause the tape to not grip it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I failed that instruction.
Or maybe you just sabotage it yourself so you could have the opportunity to do it all over again, maybe?
Well, and you know what? That's exactly what I wind up doing. So I I took one particular design that I really liked that had all of these different dots with different colors, and I washi taped like the space bar and like the larger keys, the space bar, the delete key, the tab key. And that made it more easier to look at when you're typing. And also, just make it something where it's not sticking. Or, I don't have to worry about it unsticking on me. Yeah.
So are you in front of the one that has the tape on it now?
Yes.
So do you know exactly where the percentage key is?
And is it not giving you any anxiety to not be able to see the keys?
It's not giving me anxiety. And to answer your question, I do not know where the percentage key is because I don't use that key often. So I know where all of the numbers are, and I know where all the letters are, and command, space bar, control, those keys, and caps lock, of course. But no, I don't know where the percentage one is.
Okay, well, hopefully I don't ask you any questions like on Twitter and like what is the percentage of what blah blah blah, or I don't know. I'm trying to make reasons for you to use keys that you can't see. So that's the kind of evil that I am. I admit that.
I see. Okay, all right.
I'm not trying to take over the world. I just want to just mess with you. Just
it's
like
the little thing.
Haha. Yes. You can't find the little tilde thing, can you? No, you can't. So there. That one should be usually in the corner of the top of the keyboard. So
yeah.
There, I gave you one. That's
you gave me some clues.
I did. As for my Thanksgiving, it was good. We had a catered event. It was also a family reunion, so that was kind of fun. And then I went to go hang out with a friend of mine who her sister had I guess someone purchased an apple pie that didn't realize needed to be baked. And they took a slice of it and started eating it, realizing, hey, this is pretty doughy and kind of flat. So yeah, then I had to kind of talk to them. Normally what I do, I bring them an apple pie every year. And I didn't do that this year because I like to bake apple pies on occasion. Yes. And
so how long did it take for them to realize that it was not ready to eat and they were already past they had passed over the threshold that they should not have passed over?
I am not too sure. I wasn't there for that part. I just came in and they kept telling me the story. Like each person gave me their version of watching her eat this pie. And
okay,
I want to say she ate most of it. And before she realized that, it wasn't done. So they took the rest of it and baked it, and it had to bake for like an hour. And they kept asking me questions because like apparently I'm the apple pie expert, I guess. So my new name is now T. Sterling, first of my name, House of Watson, mover and shaker, bringer of pies. So
wow,
that's pretty. It's a pretty lofty title there.
I do what I can.
And it now fits on Twitter. You can use that.
It does. Yes, I can actually.
Exactly.
I'd never thought about changing it because I'm not going to embrace the 280 character because I really like the 140 character.
Yeah, me too.
I like once you hit 142, I'm like, oh, I can't. I just can't.
Yeah. I still find myself typing in 140 characters. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not used to going after over that 140 limit. Like, it just feels like it's too much for me.
It does. Sometimes it feels too much to read it, even if it's somebody I like reading from. Like, I'm afraid to see something from Neil deGrasse Tyson that's over 140 because that's like just enough brilliance for me to comprehend. But then once you go over beyond that, I'm like, I can't, Mr. Tyson, I can't.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he's got one of those passes though. Like he's one of the very few that if he goes over the 140, then he's like I just look the other way, or rather I turn the other cheek and keep reading. I let him have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he deserves it. He deserves the 280.
He does. There are a few people who actually do deserve it. I don't know if I can manage. I mean, I'll still read it definitely, but I'm like, it's a lot. But moving on. One thing about you, Jamie, that I like is that, I mean, there's many, but one thing in particular is that you are also a Gambit fan of the X-Men, because I feel there's few and far. My pod sister and your co-host, Stephanie, we kind of like to pretend to fight about this because she's not as keen about him as I guess we are.
Really? I didn't know that.
Or maybe it's the movie that she doesn't care for, like the movie that's supposedly coming out.
Oh yeah, nobody cares for that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, no, they can keep it, but they're not going to. I don't think.
Yeah.
If they only change the actor, then I think I would be a little better with it. But that's a different story.
Yep, that's not happening.
I do have a question for you though, Jamie. And this was actually from the Misty Knight's Uninformed Afro. And before I forget, for the longest times, I used to keep thinking that it would read Misty Knight's Uniformed Afro.
Yeah, I know why you thought that, because when we first published the podcast art for Misty Knight's Uninformed Afro, we actually spelled it wrong. And it didn't even dawn on me because Kiana Ebony Brown, she did our podcast artwork. I instructed her, like, this is the name of our podcast. And she sent me, the sample of what it's going to look like. And I co-signed off of it. I was like, oh, yeah, this is perfect. This is great. Had no idea that it was the wrong spelling. And we were sitting on this for months. And it wasn't until I sent out the press release. I put it out on Twitter. I did a video.
Wow.
And then one of my writers on BGN was like, is it Uniformed Afro? Or I'm kind of confused because you're pronouncing it different in the video. And then I was like, oh, snap.
Wow.
This is wrong. So yeah, I had to take down the video, redo the press release, delete the tweets.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
it was a thing. So yeah, I completely understand why you would think that. And hopefully there's no thumbnails or out there of the original spelling. Yeah, it's still lingering. And everybody's cleared their cache since then. But yeah, that happened.
I had no idea. I thought it was just...
I just went with it. I was like, okay, uniformed afro. Okay, well, because when you have an afro, it needs to be uniform, like across like the spectrum of your head. So I get that. So I saw that, but I didn't really question it too much because why would I question y'all? Because y'all obviously can do no wrong. So I was like, well, okay, well, maybe it's just me. Well, whatever. But I get it now. Stuff happens.
Yeah. So, and likewise, I thought, I was like, okay, they're going for the Rhythm Nation, Janet Jackson, they're in formation kind of vibe. Like all these heroes are ready to, like, they're uniformed. They're going to go and they've got afros. So I didn't question it either. And then I looked at it again. I'm like, well, all the letters are kind of the same. So maybe it's just me and having a little bit of a moment. Words are hard, which is our catchphrase here. Yeah. So, so yeah, but it's uninformed. Okay. So we
uninformed afro. Yeah.
Got that cleared out. So on a recent episode, you talked about a character named Rocket, and I've actually looked for this on Comixology, but I couldn't find it there. So, but what happened was, you had mentioned that this character wears this weird kind of head mask thing. It's not even a mask, but it's just some kind of a headpiece that Gambit wears.
Yes.
And then that got me thinking, like, what is that and what purpose does it serve?
None
for Gambit,
whatsoever.
for Rocket, Jean Grey, she wears one. I'm just so confused.
I mean, I think for Rocket, it would make sense because she's got to keep her hair styled and she doesn't want to put anything over her hair that's going to flatten it because she's got the Toni Braxton
Of course.
cut. So it's got to be on point. And she wants to have that free and flowing, and it would make sense for her. I don't know about Gambit. I don't know about Jean Grey, but I will say this. Rocket was the first. Rocket had that outfit before Gambit, because when we were researching her, I was like, okay, these outfits are really similar. I want to see who copied who. And yeah, Rocket was published before Gambit was. I don't know the exact year. I can't remember, but I do know Gambit was first published in 1990. And Rocket was like somewhere in the late 80s. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, there you go. Some extra information. And I'm just going to throw another plug in there. Please check out the Misty Knights Uninformed Afro.
There you go.
Any podcatcher of your choice. Yes.
Yes. Emphasis on uninformed. Yeah.
Because
we're here to inform you. Like, yeah, that's the whole point. Like, we are here to educate you about these women because not everybody knows everything about them, or you may think you do know, but then you're like, well, damn, I didn't know Rocket was before Gambit, you know? I didn't know that Rocket, had a teen pregnancy arc in the Milestone books. Like, people, there's a lot of things that, there's a lot of things that they didn't know about these characters. And that's what I love about discovering some of these things, is how bold these comic book publishers were back then to talk about some of these stories. I mean, there's some really deep stuff in those Milestone books.
Yeah.
So, and even when we did the Monica Rambeau episode, there was some really deep stuff there. Like, they were quoting lesbian poets, and I was just like, okay, this is some really cool, like Black lesbian poets. I was like, this is some really cool stuff. So yeah, there was some woke times in our back in the early days of DC and Marvel comic book publishing. Like, people think, oh, it's all the rage now, but it's been going on for a minute.
Wow. I think the most illuminating episode was the one where there's not much illumination, and that's the Nubia episode, because there's really not much to know about her.
Yeah, we said we don't know her.
And
insert Mariah Carey gif.
Yeah, that was surprising. So I truly, you both are doing very great work.
Thank you.
Yes, thank y'all.
So, but now we must take another break, and when we come back, we will do our segments, our Black History Fact, and some Ask Indoob and Hallmark Indoob questions. So hold on, we'll be right back with the Indoob podcast.
The Indoob podcast.
Hello, Indoobians. I'm Laura, host of Loudavision, the podcast for visionaries, artists, and creatives. On my podcast, I'm interviewing fellow artists trying to figure out how we can bring our creative vision to life without compromising our values, crushing our soul, and dying poor. Yep, that explains it. You can listen to the Loudavision podcast on lauramioli.com and connect with me on Twitter @Loudavision.
Hey everybody, it's Valkyrie.
And Lolo.
And we're your two favorite literary lushes from the hilarious Drunk on Books podcast. We would like to invite you to join us each week as we break down some great books while under the influence of our favorite alcohols. You can find us on Twitter at drunkonpodcast or at our website, which is drunkonpodcast.wordpress.com. As always, please remember that we are not safe for work, so please hide your mama, your kids, your granddaddy, And don't be listening to it at work without your headphones, because I'm pretty sure you're going to get written up.
And welcome back to the Indoob podcast.
Black History.
Black History. Black History. Black History.
Facts.
We have a Black History fact for you for today. I was really trying to find maybe some kind of writer of some sort to close out this lovely month of Nano, but I didn't look hard enough. I'll just say that. But I did find something equally as interesting. At least it was to me, which is how I find some of my facts. But I looked up and found, do either of you heard of Frederick Bruce Thomas?
I have not.
Me neither.
He may be also known by his Russian name, Fyodor Fyodorovich Thomas, and he's basically the Black Russian. And to give you a brief synopsis of his story, he was born in the Mississippi Delta in, let's see, I think it was the late 1800s, 1872. And from former slaves who actually got to purchase their own land, and they worked their land. They actually had some money. He was able to go off into Europe and travel around. He had a whole lot of problems happen, such as his parents, I think his father being killed, but it's kind of why he left and went to, eventually made his way to Russia, worked as a bellhop, I believe, or a waiter. I think it was a waiter, and worked his way up to a maitre d', then was able to, I think, get his own restaurant and then eventually his own club. He, in Russia around these, 1920s, they didn't have the whole racist problem that we had and kind of still have now. So color didn't matter and people didn't mind going in. Although he did have a problem when it came to American ambassadors coming to visit and seeing that he was a Black person. They were like, no, we can't really do business with you. That kind of sucked, but he still prevailed and made quite a lot of money, and eventually moved to Turkey because of the revolution happening in Russia at the time. So he fled to safer places. He brought jazz to Turkey, so he was called the Sultan of Jazz, I believe, because he opened a nightclub there. And he lived an extravagant life until his spending kind of went out of control, and there was something else that happened. I forgot that little note, whatever that was. He basically, by spending so much money, he kind of went into debt. So he went into debtor's prison and sadly died there.
Oh, wow.
But either way, he had a very life full of achievements for a Black person, even though he lived abroad, but he's not much is known about him. So I actually found him recently, and you can read more about him in a book called The Black Russian by Vladimir Alexandrov, who stumbled upon him much like I did and tells his whole story. So I definitely recommend checking that out because it is, for me, it was very interesting. Like, oh, wow, there's a Black Russian other than the drink. So, yes.
Which are really good.
Right.
So that is
Sweet.
that.
Thank you.
So go
That's
check
good
that
information.
out. Yeah. And then there's also, there was some Sheboygan news, but nothing that was truly interesting to Sheboygan. It was all stuff surrounding Sheboygan, such as some place that made like really extravagant pies, some that weighed like 9 pounds, but it didn't take place in Sheboygan. So I'm like, I'll have to skip it and just kind of give you their weather report.
Good morning, Sheboygan.
So, since this is coming out Wednesday, I'll start there. Sunny with highs in the lower 40s. Wednesday night, partly cloudy through around midnight, then mostly cloudy with light rain after midnight. Thursday, partly sunny. Friday, partly sunny again with highs around 40. Saturday, mostly sunny with mid 40s. And on the weekend, just looks good. Just a good week. Except when you get to Monday, because it looks like you might get some snow showers. So pretty much their weather report looks a lot like Connecticut's. So keep the layers going. Sheboygan, you got it.
Have you ever thought of being like a meteorologist? Because you did that weather report really well.
Thank you very much. I actually do it every other Saturday night on the radio. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. Amazing.
So I actually really wish that this was an election year for Sheboygan because I really wanted to send them a Good Morning Sheboygan mug, which is you can find on the Indoob store. But I could still send them one anyway. It's like, hey, you're doing a great job, Sheboygan. And now for our next segment, we've got our letters, rather.
Letters, oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy!
Mailman, mail today.
I've got one question that I actually sent to myself just to get some other opinions on it. Now, I'm assuming we've all seen the movie Beauty and the Beast, whether it be the live action or the animated. That's a separate debate.
Yeah, animated. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question to chew on, I suppose, is the following: when it regards Chip, the little mug that
cup.
Yeah. Where is it? I'm trying to word it correctly. So was Chip a little boy for 12 years, or did everyone stop aging whilst they were household objects? Because the spell lasted for 12 years. So was he a little boy? Like does he stay 12 years old, or however old he is, does he stay that age for the 12 years that the house is enchanted? Or cursed, rather.
I thought they stopped aging because I thought they. So you're asking, did they stop aging at the time that they turned into furniture,
Yes,
or like at the time of the spell, or did Chip maybe when the spell happened and he turned into a 12-year-old cup? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like maybe he was a baby when it happened, and then after the spell was broken, he was like, "Hey, I'm now a boy again."
But then what about Beast? Because he was an adult when he turned into a beast, and then when he turned back into a prince, he was still the same. Like he didn't age during that spell. So wouldn't that apply to the other characters, since they were all under that same spell when it happened?
See, this is why I brought it up, because I was confused. I was like, hey, maybe they might know.
Yeah, I mean, I never actually thought about it, but I think stopped aging when the spell happened. Yeah, like it froze them kind of time, and so when they turned back to. That's when they would start aging again, I guess.
How long was Beast in that castle before Belle came along? He was in there for a minute, right?
He was, and I forgot where it was stated that it was 12 years that
right.
It
Where
happened.
does that come from? Because
I didn't even know
if I knew it was 12 years.
Yeah, I didn't know that
I think
either.
It may have been either said at the very beginning, because the spell had to be broken by the time he turned 21, I think.
Oh, right.
Oh.
That's right.
Oh, it was in the song Be Our Guest. Be Our Guest, because Lumiere says 12 years we've been resting.
Issue. Then there was a continuity issue, because he looked the same when he was a prince before the spell as he did after. Even though we didn't really see his face, we saw like that. I'm talking about the animated. I haven't seen the live action. Yeah. We saw sort of that Picasso drawn, I guess, version of him. But he looked like he was an adult. He didn't look like he was.
Right. I agree with that. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just do some stuff for you to chew on. So.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up, and it appears that we're right. Well, no, it appears that we're wrong.
Now I gotta watch Beauty and the Beast again.
Dang it. So yeah, but yeah, that doesn't make sense though. Now my head hurts. Thanks a lot.
Should I put this on my evil resume as well? Just
I think you should. You really should. Next to the percentage key on my keyboard.
Which I believe you're still looking for.
I'm still looking for it. Yeah.
Isn't it above the 3? I don't know. I'm just trying to help.
For me, it's
key.
We will figure this out before the podcast ends. Where
it's above the 5. It's above the 5. I got you.
It's above the 5.
Yeah. So, but now you have to find the 5 key.
Okay, I know where the 5 key is.
Okay.
So
you're good.
So
yeah.
Okay. Yay, we figured it out.
Teamwork.
That was great. Well done. I'll test you later on some other keys. To give you a real question submitted from our friend Roberto, in honor of the MAAs, because this recently happened, the American Music Awards, what singer, alive or dead, would you want to sing a tribute to you? And what song? Kortney, I'll have you go first, if you can think of one.
What singer would I have sing a tribute to me?
Yes.
Like, is this in response to Diana Ross's tribute? Because I'm like, am I dead or...
Well, just
I guess just amazing.
I would say more amazing. Let's say they're giving you flowers while you can smell them. So they're like,
because like I don't want to die just yet.
Right. You want to be there to enjoy the song.
Okay, so the first name that popped into my head is Lin-Manuel Miranda, because I don't feel like he's. I love him because he doesn't have like the traditional Broadway singer's voice, but I feel like he would add such a twist to it, and he would add such a different, he would be so creative with the tribute that it doesn't matter what he sounds like, which I don't think he sounds bad, mind you, but I just love how different his voice is, and he doesn't have like your typical singer's voice, but he's so passionate about everything he does, and I feel like if he was making a tribute to moi, he would put his whole heart and soul into it, and he would like make it even more interesting, even if people weren't interested in me as a person. So I would want him to do it. Also, if he knows who I am, then I mean that makes my entire life right there. So yeah, I choose him.
He can drop those bars like nobody can.
Right.
Like, oh my goodness.
Like, he's so talented.
I love him. He's amazing.
He is.
I mean,
didn't he
that could
follow
be...
you recently?
He does. He follows me on both of my Twitter accounts, my personal and Black Girl Nerds. It's
my gosh,
crazy. And like
so jealous.
One day I was on Twitter on my personal account talking about Harry Potter. Random conversation, and he jumps into my conversation talking about Harry Potter because I was saying how I thought it's a little overrated, and I'm not a Potter fan. Sorry guys,
Jamie,
don't crucify me for it.
We're gonna have to talk like off here or something. But okay, whatever. Go ahead.
But yeah, like he just like casually had a conversation with me and the other Twitter followers in my thread, and I just thought this guy is amazing. Like you're Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like you have a million things to do in your life and just be important. And you're taking time to just talk to random people like me about Harry Potter. Okay. All right, Lin-Manuel.
I think that's his personality. I mean, I've never... I'm not Jamie Broadnax, so I've never talked to him, but I feel like that's his. I just feel like that's his personality, to where he is actually a humble person, and he's not. And they always say don't meet your what
idols.
is it? Don't meet the people that don't meet your idols, and don't put them on platforms or whatever. But I don't know, just the way that I've seen him act publicly, I've seen that type of behavior from him before, where he talks to normal, regular people like us, and he doesn't seem to, I mean, person who created Hamilton, and he is the person behind Moana. I mean, he's just behind some of the greatest pieces of our time, and he is still just a normal person. It's just he's just cool people. To my tribute.
Wow. So Jamie, do you have someone you would? I mean,
I know yours is so elaborate and well thought out. Yeah, like how do you top that?
Off the brain, man. Off the brain.
I mean, I just love Whitney Houston's voice. I think she was one of the great singers of our time. And there will never be another Whitney Houston. There will never be anyone that could replicate the sound that came out of those vocal cords. And when I hear You Give Me Good Love, like I have like a little tear that forms at the corner of my eye, just because it's just so moving listening to the melody and the tone of that song and her voice. So yeah, I would love to have Whitney Houston sing, like, I don't know, like Amazing Grace or something. I don't know. I feel like that's probably a funeral song, but and also like when she did the national anthem, like that still to this day brings goosebumps and the hairs on the back of my neck just raise up because she just killed it. She just killed that song and nobody can top it. Like people are like, oh yeah, but so-and-so did better. And I don't want to get the beehive after me, but yes, Beyonce's a fantastic singer, but nobody can do the national anthem like Whitney Houston did.
No, I agree.
No one.
I agree.
So,
yeah.
I
agree. She sings
I have
gospel Whitney Houston too. She this is probably kind of lame, but one of my favorite albums of, I guess it's album, but when she did The Preacher's Wife.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite music, not just for Christmas, but year round, because there's a lot of gospel songs on there. And when I just tell you, she just the way she sings it and just, again, passion behind, her songs that she leads, it's just.
That's so beautiful.
It is unparalleled. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. She is great. And I actually really like that movie. I need to kind of revisit that one.
Yeah.
It's always
now's
on
the time. It's the time of year. I'm sure it'll run.
Too.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll run on some network very soon.
Yeah.
Okay, and my answer, which I have a lot of favorites, it's either between John Legend and Andra Day, because I just absolutely love her
My
voice.
mom loves her so much. My mom really loves her.
It's just wings. If a voice had wings, I think that's what it would be. So, yes.
Another letter from our listener day.
But we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll just do our little wrap up and everything and move on. So we'll be right back with the Indoob podcast.
The Indoob podcast.
Hey there, friend. Enjoying this podcast production? I bet your sweet buttery face you are. I bet you're also thinking, how can I support this show and look awesome doing it? Aside from telling your best pal and all their kin, you can head over to Indoob.com, and 2 clicks later, after hitting the store tab, you'll find yourself with several fun and fancy swag brought to you by the fine folks at the Indoob Network and T-Public. If you're a fan of Indoob, Food Fight, or anything under the Indoobian sun, you can find it plastered on mugs, hoodies, pillows, cases, bags, and of course, t-shirts. Hurry on over now, and you may catch a sale with all tees 30% off. Seriously, they have sales like every other week. So head on over to Indoob.com or tpublic.com. That's TEEPUBLIC.com and type Indoob in the search bar and continue to pod with the best.
Wake up early to make the big decisions. Command the room before you enter it. Confidently order lunch because the meeting is over. El Jefe, the new fragrance for men. and La Jefa for the ladies. Smell like you own the building, because you do.
And welcome back to the Indoob Podcast. That was a fantastic break. I learned so much things. Jamie, you want to give any shout outs or plugs? Or, I mean, you've got so much going on. I know this, but like, where do you want people to go find more about you if you want to be found? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, sure. blackgirlnerds.com is the website. Please subscribe to our newsletter and share among your friends and your family members about BGN. We also have a store. So if you go to blackgirlnerds.com/t-shirts, we sell a lot of cool swag, t-shirts, stickers, tote bags, all types of cool stuff through TeePublic. Just did a sale through Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So that was really cool. And listen to our podcast. Right now it is on a break, but you can go back into iTunes or any of your favorite podcast streaming apps and listen to our episodes there. And just stay tuned in the new year for some new opportunities with BGN. And also check out Universal Fan Con. That's the biggest project that I'm a part of, which is going to be happening in April at the Baltimore Convention Center. It's April 27th through the 29th. So definitely encourage anybody that is interested in a convention that celebrates diversity and inclusion. And if you happen to be anywhere around Baltimore, check it out. We've got some really cool guests. Cast of American Gods, Orlando Jones, some really great comic book artists, some really fantastic folks, and some other celebrities that I can't even mention yet until the contracts are signed. But it's the beginning of even more celebrities as it gets closer and closer to the date. So please come out and support that. You can go to universalfancon.com to get your tickets. And that's it.
See, this is what I mean. You have so much stuff going on. That was one of the things that I forgot we had to talk about. But I mean, we'll just have you come back again, and we could just talk about FanCon. So,
just FanCon and
because
Mr. Robot and the Walking
and
Dead.
Yes.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
All of those things, because you've got so much going on, and it's incredible that you even are able to have enough time to blink, because just so much.
I'm an Android. I told you.
Oh, I forgot. I'm so sorry. Yes, Android. Yes.
I'm starting to believe
you don't need. I mean, do you need food as well? I'm not sure. Like, what kind of Android you are? Do you consume food, or you just run on energy? Do you plug in?
I run off of the scent of Idris Elba's cologne. And
that's a good one.
Lin-Manuel's voice. And BD Wong's shade.
Oh yes.
Wow.
Yep.
I will say, if you put all those lines on a shirt, and I would wear the crap out of that. Just saying. You didn't ask me, but there we go.
I will make it happen.
Since it's on the, wait a second. Since that was on the Indoob podcast, wouldn't that go into the Indoob store? I'm just saying.
Okay.
But Jamie said it, and it makes sense that Jamie would say it. Listen, we'll fight about this later.
Yeah, we will. Kortney, what do you got? You got any?
Going off. I apologize for that.
No problem. I mean, we know you got things. Kortney,
but there's a thing called Vibrate, and I apparently don't know how to use it. So, by the way, I'm a brand new owner of an iPhone, of the iOS system, I should say, because I've never owned an iPhone in all of my life. So I'm still figuring out how this device works.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah, and I'm all in. Like all of my hardware is all Apple. So laptop.
So it makes sense that you're kind of all in now.
All in, yeah, all connected. So Apple's got me.
Hey, I believe they all can work together. So I'm not partial to one or the other. I like to learn them all, because I feel it's my tech nerdiness. I need to know both sides. The only thing I don't know yet is Samsung. So I got to get some Samsung products in my life. But other than that, I'm good with everything. So
equal opportunity. That's good.
Yes, exactly. Kortney, you got any shout outs and plugs and things of that nature?
Yeah, so check me out on the Twitters at IMK I tweet about everything from geek culture to feminism to somewhat politics. Yeah, politics, and then everything in between. You can also check me out, check out verbhousecollective.com, which is the place for audacious creatives, entrepreneurs, and intention seekers. And you can also check out the Twitter account for Verve, which is at VerveHC. There's some really awesome stuffs in the works for 2018. We're kind of quiet right now, but there's a lot of awesome things coming down the pipeline for 2018, and it's going to be great. So don't miss it. Yeah, so I'll see you there.
All right, awesome. And we'll be doing the Hallmark Indoob. I think I might do that on the Patreon because we do have a whole bunch of more submissions for titles and plots that are pretty funny. So I will be sharing those very soon. And let us see. That does it for another episode of the Indoob, of this Indoob episode. Follow me on all things at Indoob and go to indoob.com to find the Patreon, to subscribe for more perks, and find my TeePublic store where there will be a new t-shirt, I want to say, or tea design exclusive for fellow podcasters like us. So look forward to that very soon. Or hoodies, mugs, and more. Please rate, comment, and share the pod on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, and Podbean, wherever podcasts are procured. Thank you so much for supporting, listening, stopping by, and pressing play. Tell someone you value that you value them, and live for the folks you love. I've been your benevolent host, T. Sterling Watson. For Kortney and Chief, remember, if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off.
Podcast was recorded on planet Earth and is an extension of the Indoob blog found at indoob.com. You can subscribe and find more episodes on iTunes and indoob.podbean.com. You can also follow Master Sterling on Twitter at Indoob. I am not allowed. This is Bilford signing off, and this has been another 3SFX production.
Use your words, Chief. Good boy.